Hello and welcome to round 5 of Grand Prix Charleston. On the left of your screen, we have 4-0 player Owen Turnwald facing off against 4-0 player Carlos Powell. I'm Ben Swartz, joined here in the booth by Marshall Sutcliffe. Hi, Marshall.
Hello, sir. And so we get 2011 Player of the Year Owen Turnwald on the left-hand side.
And Carlos Powell is a pro from Costa Rica. He's a well-known Magic Online player.
Ah, that's where I recognize his name.
He's been grinding the past few weeks. He went from the Grand Prix in Costa Rica, had a couple weeks off, but he went to Grand Prix Chicago last weekend. He's coming to this Grand Prix. He stayed with another player, AJ Soccer, the past couple weeks. So
okay, yep.
They've been streaming. I know AJ's a big streamer. They've been streaming together for the past couple weeks.
Yep, AJ's big on the streams, and he also writes articles for Star City.
Yep. And looks like the players are drawing their opening hands. Owen Turnwald, as we discussed earlier, is playing that Bant deck.
Yeah, this is the one that I've been playing online quite a bit, and I like it a lot, although right away I see, is that an Overgrown Tomb in his hand?
Yeah, it looks like one Overgrown
So what
tomb.
are we...
I believe that's in his deck for...
I just got a funny look there from Rashad. He says, I know what he's got.
I'm
he
scouring.
knew right away exactly what it was.
It just makes me feel like... he's got one...
Is it a mill land? Is it
one Nephalia Drown Yard.
One Drown Yard.
Wow. A quick Augur of Bolas for Owen. Didn't quite get a chance to see what he got, but that Overgrown Tomb will come into play untapped.
It looks like we're in a mirror match here as well. This is a pretty typical opener here. Divination for Carlos. Now, this is a card that I know that Sam Black has been playing, and he said he's pretty happy with it over a card like Think Twice.
Well, I know that there was some discussion between which is better, Jace or Divination. I mean, most of the time...
Oh, really?
Jace is sort of just a cumberstone. It's clearly better than Divination in the abstract, right? Planeswalkers are really powerful. It costs another mana, and some of the time you're only really getting 2 cards out of it if your opponent's playing a really aggressive deck. I mean, I see that Carlos is playing Jace in addition, but it's something to consider that
if they're you're even talking about him the same thing. All right, so it looks like Owen has just decided to attack, and we're going to be settling in for what's going to end up being probably a pretty long game here.
Yeah. So Restoration Angel comes down at end of turn for Owen Turnwald.
Maybe not. It looks like Owen is going to be fairly aggressive, but he's just going to get his Angel dissipated here. I think that he's pretty okay with that.
Well, yeah, it taps out Carlos this turn. So if Owen has a Planeswalker like a Jace...
no, he just sends a turn back.
Owen also sitting in counterspells of his own. In these control versus control matchups, you don't really want to tap out to let your opponent have an opening like casting a Thragtusk here for Carlos.
And
Owen has a Dissipate for that.
It's dissipated. Is Carlos a lands in front of creatures?
I guess so.
All right.
Jace comes down for Owen. Will that resolve? Does Carlos say that's okay? Wow, yeah.
In fact, he even gives him a die.
Owen immediately uses the -2 ability.
Oh, wow. 2 lands and the card that we've been talking about a lot this weekend, Sphinx's Revelation. Unless he just needs to hit lands drops or already has Sphinx's Revelation in his hand, you'd probably take it. But, yeah, he just needs the lands, it looks like. You definitely don't want to start missing land drops in the control mirror.
Yeah, no way you want to do that. Owen's hand is 2 Supreme Verdicts and then 1 Dissipate, along with that second land that he just got, the Cavern of Souls. But with Carlos having no pressure, Owen's going to be able to generate a lot of card advantage off of the Jace.
Yep. Yeah, this is a position clearly where Jace is shining compared to a card like Divination, where Jace can go and become a long-term source of card. Ooh, here's the Sphinx's Revelation on end step for Carlos.
A mini Sphinx's Revelation?
Yeah, so it was for 3, which is still pretty sweet. Especially because... Did he do that on his main phase?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, maybe he just needed to hit a land drop or something. Or while Owen was tapped out. I must have missed that.
Owen mulling over his options here.
Playing a land here for Carlos. And he's just going to play his own Jace. That's going to get dissipated. Does he have his own counterspell? Nope.
Farseek for Carlos. Looks like Carlos is trying to grind down Owen's hand.
Did you get a look there at what Carlos had on the bottom of his deck?
did not see. What was it?
It was an elixir.
Elixir of Immortality.
This could be a real long game.
You don't like control on control matchups? Why?
I don't mind them. So I actually don't.
Owen uses Jace's ability again. Draws Sphinx's Revelation, puts Dissipate and Hinterland Harbor on the bottom of his library, setting up for a big end of turn Sphinx's Revelation.
He attacks for 1.
Plays Cavern of Souls.
We'll figure out what that's naming. Angel is likely. Beast sometimes.
Beast, it looks like.
That one is Beast.
And a main phase Sphinx's Revelation for Owen for 5.
For 5, which is a huge blowout here. Just draw 5. Man, like when you're on Carlos' side of the table, it's pretty discouraging.
Well, I mean,
watch your opponent just casually rip 5 cards off the top of his deck. He just pitches a land here.
Owen's given him an opening for a turn. Carlos
what
can
is he
now
do, though?
Resolve a Jace, maybe play a Thragtusk.
I mean, if he
resolves
a Jace, like, yeah, Owen's like, sure. I got 5 more in my hand I just drew. Oh, man, we officially have a full-on Sphinx's Revelation fight here. This one is for 4?
I think 6.
I can't see how many lands he's got up there. Yeah, you're right, 6.
Players.
So haymakers abound, and even though Sphinx's Revelation is an instant, they keep playing it on their own turn so that it doesn't get countered by their opponent.
It's kind of like a time twister here. Both players now start with 7 cards. And
Owen is still sitting on that Jace, but cards isn't the problem. It's more about win conditions and how he's going to actually close out this game.
Well, with both players having Elixir of Immortality.
Yeah, that's that could be an issue.
Owen continuing to get in with that Augur of Bolas. Still with Jace on the battlefield. Grinding out some card advantage. Looks like he's going to try to resolve a Thragtusk.
He does indeed, and he can. I mean, he's got Cavern on Beast, so it's resolving.
I mean, Carlos is also tapped out.
And that too.
And a Farseek for Owen. Putting Hallowed Fountain into play. +1ing Jace.
I was going to +1 Jace before I'm done my turn. Looks like Carlos might be questioning him a little bit here, but did he get him on it? Oh, okay. He did. So it looks like Owen said go, and then said, actually, I meant to plus my Jace, and Carlos said,
no, sir.
Didn't you say go?
This is a high stakes tournament. No takebacks. This is the kitchen table.
Yeah, there is no takebacks allowed, and Owen says, okay.
Got me.
Now in the current board state, that's not really.
Well, I mean, it's pretty important because it's another turn that Owen can generate card advantage off that Chase.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if cards is really the. Okay.
Supreme Verdict for Carlos. Owen's gonna get a 3/3 Beast token off that Thragtusk. He's waiting for it?
I think he's just waiting for it. Yeah.
And a Thragtusk of Carlos, his own. Carlos also looks like has a Cavern of Souls on Beast. Now Owen's not going to forget to +1 Chase.
Right away, pluses up his Chase there and just ships turn back.
So how do these control and control matchups play out, Marshall?
Well, so these always end up being really very long, and it's interesting because I think that us he just gives him the well, it's actually a centaur, but it's a beast token in reality. You know, I think that both of these players are pretty aware of how these matchups play out, given that we've seen Elixir of Immortality in the main deck for both of them, which is that basically all right, so it looks like Detention Sphere is going to hit Jace. These decks have a hard time actually killing each other. They both have tons of answer to creatures and relatively few amount of actual creatures. So it can often become a very grindy sort of we've seen Owen is basically splashing for Nephalia Drownyard, and this is why. Like, that's a card that can absolutely win him the game going long, and it gives him a sense of inevitability because, again, I mean, look at what's happening here. He just played Supreme Verdict to kill a 3/3 when he's at 28. Like, they have way too many answers to creatures in the deck given how many creatures their opponent is actually going to be playing. So
If Owen can get lucky enough to mill with Nafalia's Drown Yard, Carlos's Elixir of Immortality, that's probably game right there.
That'll be it. I mean, and basically he just needs to keep doing that over and over until he does mill it. Because
I mean, both players are going to have close to infinite life because every single time they run through their deck, they can cast Sphinx's Revelation again to draw the rest of their deck because they're going to end up with all of their lands on the battlefield.
That's right. So let's see if Carlos can find his Elixir or if Owen can find his. All right, another Thragtusk. Yeah, like you said, infinite life. I mean, these Thragtusk plus Sphinx's Revelations over and over, it just means life totals are not going to be an issue here.
And another Carlos is on 35 and Owen on 28.
Yeah, they're basically just thinning out their decks now so that when they do hit that Elixir, that they just draw more and more stuff and have more access to more mana to be able to cast it. But neither has just any pressure at all on their opponent currently. I mean, that Thragtusk is a thing, but honestly, it's just not going to do much.
So while Owen has Nefalia Drown Yard, it looks like Carlos has 2 copies of Ghost Quarter as a way to combat.
Oh, does he really?
Yeah.
Oh, so this could just go, like it could be just a who draws their Elixir or, you know, if one of them gets milled away first or something.
I mean, Carlos doesn't have the ability to mill away the Elixir, but he does have the ability to pause Owen's milling with Nefalia Drown Yard.
All right, looks like Owen just cycles an Azorius Charm and just ships a turn back.
I mean, also they've got to
Will he take damage this game? He does. Look at that. Drop him right back down to 23.
They also have to be aware of their opponent casting a counterspell, like a Dissipate, on the Elixir of Immortality.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think we're going to see Supreme Verdict. And we do. That's going to
remove the Thragtusk?
Yeah, kill Thragtusk, make a beast token to replace it. And I think Owen just says go. He seems like he's out of gas here, but he's still not really under that much pressure. So there's going to be plenty of draw steps for him to go. And Carlos just cycles an Azorius Charm on end step. Those just aren't doing enough. Although I got to say, an Azorius Charm right now isn't too bad for Owen. It kills the beast, but
yeah.
Carlos is just hitting land drop after land drop. He's got tons of lands on the battlefield, as you can see.
Another Jace for Owen.
Another Jace for Owen.
Is that going to resolve? Nope. Dissipate's going to take it out. I mean, it could be that Owen's not really advantaged here. Carlos has quite a few more cards in the hand, and if he can get to a Sphinx's Revelation first, before Owen can draw a counterspell, could put him over the top to be able to counter Owen's Elixir of Immortality. Centaur continues to get in. Owen's now under the 20 life point threshold. Oh, yeah, the beast.
I mean, it is a Centaur.
Yeah, okay. But it's important that it's a beast, as we talked about earlier, because of cards like Detention Sphere.
That's right. All right, so it looks like another Supreme Verdict is just going to get a 1-for-1. I mean that's not what you normally do. Yeah, it's not even a 1-for-1.
0.5 for 1.
He used two Supreme Verdicts to take out one Thragtusk, and a Restoration Angel came down on end step, and well, now he's got a bit of a clock here.
Ooh, Sphinx's Revelation drawn off the top for Owen.
So does he just go for it here?
Does he want to cast it main phase or at end of Carlos's turn?
I mean, it's up to him. If he ships it back, then he gives Carlos a chance to hit a draw step and maybe draw a counterspell that he doesn't have in his hand right now.
And it looks like Carlos peeled a counterspell off the top. Sphinx's Revelation for
infinite, and it does get countered. All right, so this is actually, all right, Augur of Bolas, he's digging.
The Essence Scattered.
And it gets Essence Scattered? Yeah, because there's not that many targets for Essence Scatter. So. Oh, there it is.
Elixir
that is the key card in this matchup right now. Owen's heart has to have just sunk.
Think twice first?
Think twice says sure.
Flashback,
likely going to just flash it back. Thragtusk. That seems fine. I'll keep him alive quite a bit longer here. Put him back up to 18. And he's got a Farseek after that. And it looks like Carlos is going to waste no time with that Elixir, and he is just going to crack it right now. So that's going to put him way ahead in the mill race here. If that's what this game comes down to, you know, he's going to have quite a few more cards. Even though he's drawn a lot of cards, I got to figure that puts his library significantly larger than Owen's.
I mean, you can see the difference in size of the libraries. It's difficult to even do a normal shuffle. So Carlos has a turn of his own. Let's see what he's able to do. Get in there with the Restoration Angel and pass it back to Owen. It looks like. They've got so many lands in play, both players.
Yeah, that is a pretty ridiculous amount of lands that they both have.
I mean, I see that Owen's deck has 26 lands. I assume Carlos has something similar. Yeah, it looks like Carlos's deck also has 26 lands.
Was that a Sphinx's Revelation for Carlos?
Yep.
Looks like it's for 7 or something. Yeah, this is just... Things are looking pretty good for Carlos here. I know it's hard to tell based on the board state, but Carlos is sitting at 46 life.
I mean, the big important thing is Carlos has a lot of cards in hand, and he's already Elixir of Immortality once, so he's got the ability to chain back Dissipates and counter anything that Owen might be able to draw. Carlos has the upper hand.
Look at how many cards Carlos has in his hand. That is insane. Okay, now this is interesting. He's going to use a Ghost Quarter on one of the Cavernous Souls.
Owen's not going to shuffle. He knows he doesn't have any more basics in his deck.
Okay.
It looks like the Cavernous Souls on Angel was the one that got destroyed by Ghost Quarter.
Owen's going to drop down to 7 here.
Does Carlos want to cast a Supreme Verdict here? Nope, just another Thragtusk.
Put him back up to 51, a more comfortable life total.
Where's Test of Endurance?
Nothing like being at 51 and having like 13 cards in your hand. 2 pretty sweet creatures on the battlefield as well. See if he wants to commit anything else to the board here. He's got lethal as it stands, but that Thragtusk on Owen's side is going to block, so he
need
a little more help. Oh, wow. Jace?
Memory
Adept in the main?
Owen said, I've seen enough.
Yeah, not only has Owen seen enough, I think he's decided that Carlos has probably seen enough of his deck as well and didn't want to mill away 10 cards and let Carlos get a chance to check those out. Wow, so Carlos, his deck looks very well set up for the mirror.
Well, I mean, both their decks have things that are good for the mirror. Owen's deck has the main deck Nephalia Drownyard. Carlos has that main deck Jace Memory Adept.
I think I like the Drownyard a little better. I mean, Jace is obviously more powerful, but it actually takes a real spell slot.
Looks like we're going to get a quick look at another match here. Kurt Spice versus Jerry Thompson. Kurt Spice is on the left-hand side of your screen. Jerry's on the right. And Kurt has a Tamio, the Moon Sage, with 7 loyalty. But Jerry has a Runechanter's Pike, along with a Snapcaster Mage that's holding that pike. So unclear exactly what the life totals are. But if Kurt's at a low life total and can deal with that Tamio, Kurt might be in trouble. The Tamio is holding off the Snapcaster Mage here, and Kurt's going to go ahead and cast Supreme Verdict.
He looks like it.
Maybe he wants to go for a combo kill with Tamio Ultimate and maybe a Thought Scour.
Ooh, Snapcaster Mage for Jerry.
Oh, this could spell the end of Tamio. I don't know.
Yeah, that's it.
How many instances or
so we see the life totals there, 6 to 26. Jerry Thompson in the driver's seat here. That Snapcaster Mage is a big deal.
Yeah, so he's going to flashback Thought Scour, targeting himself presumably. Now, if Kurt doesn't have a removal spell, Jerry can just equip that Runechanter's Pike onto the Snapcaster Mage and attack Kurt.
Is that Jerry's library?
To dead. Yeah, it looks that way. It looks like he only has, what, 7 cards left in his library?
What happened? So that Pike is clearly lethal then.
I mean, he's got quite a few cards.
Wow, look at that.
That's a big graveyard.
I wonder if there was some Jace Memory Adepting or something happening. That's insane.
So Jerry's going to equip Runechanter's Pike to Snapcaster Mage and attack Kurt. Does Kurt have something to stop it? Looks like he's got an Azorius Charm.
Oh, he's got his own Snapcaster.
Snapcaster, okay.
Now I want to take a look at Kurt's graveyard. It's probably also pretty well stocked.
This is an interesting game also.
So the Moreland Haunt is being locked down by Tamio. But he's got another one down there. Jerry does.
Yep. I didn't see what Snapcaster Mage is targeting.
It might be on the stack.
Sure. Jerry, think twice is in response. Flashback, think twice.
Playing Azorius Charm, actually.
Okay. To draw a card?
Well, so he must have one specific card that he's looking for in his deck. Now, we haven't really got to see the progression of this game, so I'm not sure what exactly he's digging for, but it's got to be something specific. Especially because he's only got 4 cards left in his library now. And so he needs to be aware, you know, getting milled out potentially.
Unsummon on the Snapcaster Mage.
Okay.
Maybe Kurt just cast the Snapcaster Mage as a blocker. He must have targeted something with it, right? I assume it's
the trigger goes,
Charm.
yeah.
Oh no, it's the ultimate price that you target. Does Jerry have an answer to that ultimate price?
Looks like he does. Oh, does he?
Draws a card with Azorius Charm. Sure.
Yeah, stay here.
But looks like Jerry has seen enough, and he's going to pack it up. Kurt Spice wins that game against Jerry Thompson, and we're back over to the other match, Owen versus Carlos. And things have gotten off to a real rapid start here.
Yeah.
Both players have 4 lands.
Yeah.
5th land comes down for Carlos.
A lot of action.
Lot of action. Another Farseek. Howled Pattern comes into play. And we get to see their sideboards at work. Now I'm taking a look at Owen's sideboard. He showed me earlier. He himself has a Jace Memory Adept, along with a 2nd Elixir of Immortality and some negates and dispels, whereas Carlos also has negates, but has...
Ooh, there's a dispel right now. So Owen went for a Jace. Carlos was clearly leaving up Dissipate and, in fact, had it.
But Owen had Dispel.
And Owen had his own Dispel, and now he gets to activate a Jace into an empty board, which is definitely going to give him an advantage.
But we
potentially going long-term here.
He had that last game, and it was not enough. Jace by itself was not enough to
Jace eventually got detention sphered. But
interesting that Carlos split those piles up to put the Overgrown Tomb on the bottom of Owen's library and let Owen take both a land and a negate. So Carlos is likely to cast a big spell here on his turn, knowing that Owen has that negate. And that big spell is Jace of his own, Jace Architect.
Yeah, but Owen wins that battle pretty easily.
Yeah.
He got a bunch of cards out of the deal.
3 cards for Carlos is 1. Yeah. Farseek for Owen. Players will continue to develop their mana bases. And Owen passes the turn with 4 mana up. Carlos passes back to Owen. Owen's going to continue casting Farseek. Farseek on Farseek.
We have a mana fight.
I mean, that's clearly important in the control matchups. You don't want to miss a land drop.
Also, Owen just goes and digs out that Overgrown Tomb that he had put on the bottom anyway. So that didn't really work out for Carlos.
Yeah, I think he probably should have just let him have either the negate or the 2 lands.
Yeah.
I think Carlos doesn't quite know what that Overgrown Tomb is for. So
he hasn't seen it right yet.
No. And it turns Sphinx's Revelation
for
3.
But we see that he's left up that negate mana.
Negate, Carlos says. Owen has his own negate and dissipate on the negate. Wow, that's interesting. Carlos decided to dissipate the negate and not the Sphinx's Revelation.
Yeah, why didn't he hit the Sphinx's Revelation there? It would have been exiled.
Yeah, I think that may have been a misstep by Carlos. Owen casually casts a Thrag Test on his turn. with Carlos tapped out.
Huh, that's interesting that he did that. We've seen that these guys can get those things back. You know, he hasn't seen Elixir out of Owen, but it's certainly not out of the realm of possibility. And you'd love to get one of those Sphinx's Revelations just completely out of the game.
Thragtusk will trade with Thragtusk. Both players will get a 3/3 Beast, but Owen drew a Sphinx's Revelation for his turn. Does he want to cast it or cast that second Thragtusk in his hand?
Thragtusk it is.
Owen will go up to 26 life, and we'll start this life battle again.
Yeah, life fight.
Carlos says land go. Owen says land attack you. Carlos trades off the token for the Thragtusk. Owen gets a token. Carlos falls to 22.
These tokens just change hands back and forth.
Carlos casts Sphinx's Revelation end of turn. Does Owen want to dissipate that? Looks like he's going to respond.
With his own?
Yeah, for 4.
Oh, and did you see he's already got the dissipate in hand?
Yeah.
And he's just doing the thing, you know, where you like, I'm digging for it, and then, oh, had it.
The old factor fiction trick.
We did it.
Dissipate takes out Carlos' Sphinx's Revelation.
Some people get really bothered by that for some reason. It's funny.
But now
how lucky.
Had it. Carlos has a turn of his own to do whatever he wants. He's got a detention sphere if he wants to take out the 2 beasts.
That seems like a reasonable play. I mean, he's going to have to take those out at some point. Although detention sphere also deals with planeswalkers, so maybe he just got a verdict. Yeah, there we go. Supreme verdict.
Carlos passes it back.
I feel like the momentum is in Owen's favor currently, but these things can change pretty quickly in these control mirror.
I mean, mainly because Owen was able to resolve that Sphinx's Revelation.
That's right, and prevent the other.
Think twice, flash it back. All main phase on Owen's turn. He's got a grip full of lands, though. Farseek. You don't like lands? How about more and more and more of them?
Plays a land for his turn. You've heard of a land party, right? No, don't go there. All right.
Jace,
all right.
Memory
Jace,
Adept.
Memory Adept for Carlos Pound. This is a huge factor in this game. This provides a very, very quick clock, actually.
Does Owen have a counterspell for that? Does not look like it.
Does he just have a bunch of lands?
Now Carlos can start using
he's got
that
the
Memory
elixir,
Adept.
Though.
Is he going to mill 10 cards, mill 1 card, and draw a card?
He's going to mill him. Well, somebody's got to mill something. All right, he's going to mill himself and draw a card. Looks like he just wants to try to get ahead for now. Maybe he needed to draw a Dissipate or something like that.
If he can ever ultimate Jace, it's pretty much game over. But
he doesn't even need to. He just goes 0, 0, 0, 0, and you're dead.
I think he wanted to draw a counterspell.
Yeah, I think so too.
There's
a Drown Yard. So now Owen has a bit of a clock himself, but he still needs to deal with this Jace.
Compared to the 10 per turn clock that Jace provides.
Right.
Drown Yard.
Yes, so he needs to find a way to get rid of that Jace Memory Adept. No, it looks like this is interesting. Carlos just keeps going upwards with it. He just wants to draw a bunch of cards, probably along the same lines of thinking as last turn. It's just he's digging for a counterspell so he can protect Jace because he knows Owen doesn't have an answer to it right now.
I'm not sure what library count is, but it could be that Carlos is looking to just ultimate Jace.
You think so?
Jace ultimates at 7. If Owen is lower on cards because he casts that Sphinx's Revelation, that resolved.
He just makes Owen draw 20 cards?
Yeah, if Owen has fewer than 20 cards in his library.
Oh, I see. You're saying if he can get him to below 20 and then pop it to just actually kill him. Okay.
Because then he doesn't have to worry about Elixir of Immortality shenanigans and hoping that Owen doesn't have it in his hand.
Yeah. Jace's ultimate says any number of target players
draw 20 cards.
Yeah, each draw 20 cards. So.
Drown Yard you at end of turn. 1, 2, 3. Looks like a Sphinx's Revelation in 2 lands gets milled. And
another think twice for Owen.
Drawing a Dissipate.
There's a Dissipate.
Flashback.
That's going to help a bit, but he needs to find like a detention sphere, and there is yet another Sphinx's Revelation. That's going to help get him where he needs to go.
Owen already has the Elixir of Immortality.
Yeah, he's had it in his hand for a while. And he passes the turn back. I mean, Carlos hasn't really put any pressure as far as, he hasn't activated Jace's 0 ability yet. I mean, it's looming.
But now activating Jace's zero ability is pretty bad.
How come?
Because Owen's just going to crack the Elixir of Immortality.
Yeah, but I mean, you make him do it.
That's true.
Jace isn't going anywhere. It's 0, so.
But if he +1s him, then he can put Owen into a position where Jace can ultimate.
Yeah, and if Owen is in that danger zone of 19 cards, or actually 20 should do it as well, then yeah, he should be good to go.
Jace goes up to 7 loyalty. Owen mills a Thragtusk. Carlos draws a card. I see Ben Friedman casually walking up with a slip, dropping in the results box.
That's Ben Friedman? I never met him. I don't know everybody like you do. I know a lot of people, but I don't know everybody.
Owen will Drown Yard at end of turn, milling Negate, Restoration Angel, and Hinterland Harbor. Untap.
Do these decks, do either of them have Angel of Serenity? Like, I'm assuming they might have taken them out, but.
Does not look like either of these decks have Angel of Serenity.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Just some Restoration Angels to combo with Thragtusk.
So is the Nephalia Drown Yard actually just Owen's win condition? Like,
I guess so.
In general? I kind of thought it was a nod to the control mirror. All right, so it looks like enough fooling around. Jace is going to mill 10 and put a bunch of heat on Owen. He does get to use that elixir to buy him a couple of turns, but...
Owen has 11 cards in his library.
Is it Owen's turn?
Well, it's Carlos's turn because he just zeroed Jace.
All right, so he's going to ship it back. Owen is going to draw a card, and that would put him dead the next turn, so he's going to need to do something.
Well, I mean, he's got the Elixir of Immortality.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, he needs to use it.
Yeah.
Like, Carlos is basically just able to apply a bunch of pressure to Owen.
Owen's okay. Sphinx is Revelationing for 7.
And
Carlos dissipates.
Dissipate. Now, we know that Owen's got a Dissipate of his own, and there it is.
Dissipate you back.
I don't think Carlos has anything, does he?
I'm not sure. Carlos thinking here. He must have something.
I don't think he does.
Dissipates Resolve. Owen draws 7. I assume at the end of turn he's going to crack that Elixir of Immortality. Nope. Well, he's going to wait on that.
Yeah, because he can wait.
He can't wait because Jace can... Oh, I guess so. Jace can -7 ultimate and force him to draw 20 cards, depending on how many cards are in his graveyard. Owen here casts his own Jace to get rid of the Memory Adept, Jace Architect of Thought. After that, he's going to cast his own Jace Memory Adept.
Oh, man, that's a big turn for Owen.
Mill 10, I assume, right?
I think you just go for it, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you want to be milling 10.
He's still sitting at 4. He hasn't activated him yet.
Nope, Carlos has seen enough.
Wow, that was a huge swing for Owen. He was able to position himself in that last turn in a really great way by doing the Sphinx's Revelation and then playing 2 Jaces in one turn.
Yeah, Owen had both a mana advantage and card advantage in that match. Being able to resolve that Sphinx's Revelation was huge. And now we go back to Kurt Spice versus Jerry Thompson. Game 2. Jerry, the one with Angel of Serenity. Whereas Kurt's the one with... looks like the rules have flip-flopped since last match. Or last game that we saw. But Jace, Architect of Thought, comes down for Kurt. Kurt sitting on 15 life. Jerry rewinds the Jace. Jerry sitting on 12 life. Does Kurt have another counterspell? Or a counterspell? Looks like Negate.
Negate, indeed.
Jerry has Dispel.
Oh, Dispel's so sweet.
Rewind's going to resolve. Jerry's going to untap 4 lands. Jace gets countered. Everything's good in the world. Well, for now. for Jerry.
These Angel of Serenity fights can get interesting.
The fact that it goes back to your hand is huge, right?
It's huge.
Your opponent can then cast Angel of Serenity and blow you out like you blew them out.
Exactly. So it goes back and forth, and it's tough to jockey to be kind of last man standing with an Angel.
Of course, we saw Kurt Spice win Game 1 of this match earlier while we were waiting for the Turtenwald-Powell match to get ready for a Game 2. And this is also a pretty grindy match. Jerry using Moorland Haunt to pump out 1/1 Flying Spirit tokens. And both players with quite a bit of mana at their disposal. Sphinx's Revelation for Jerry. And we're back to Owen Turnwald versus Carlos Powell, going to a deciding Game 3 in this Bant-on-Bant control mirror match. We saw the patience of Owen pay off last game, which was really important to win this control match. Farseek for Carlos, Think Twice for Owen.
Do you think Carlos should have been more aggressive with his Jace Memory Adept?
I think so. I mean, ultimately, I don't think it mattered.
I mean, I think it did. Like, it took Owen a long time to find an answer.
But Owen had the elixir in his hand, so, like, it wasn't just Owen wasn't just completely dead, but Owen would have had to use his elixir more aggressively, and maybe Carlos would have had a counterspell for the elixir. I'm not exactly sure on the timing.
Okay.
Turn 4 Thragtusk for Carlos gets dissipated. Owen's got a couple counters in his hand, but will play his 4th land, Temple Garden, tapped.
Yeah, Owen's hand is a grip full of counters, and he's still sitting on that Think Twice in the yard. He doesn't even use it, though. Interestingly, he's going to have a hard time finding a window for it until he can get up to at least 6 mana so he can have Dissipate up.
It looks like he's got a negate in his hand, so he can end of turn cast Think Twice, and if Carlos goes for Sphinx's Revelation, negate it.
Oh, okay.
And then Owen can resolve a Jace, so maybe that's what he's looking to do
also,
right
though,
now.
Owen's like, yeah, there we go. Okay. He does just that.
Carlos has no response. Owen draws Sphinx's Revelation off that Think Twice, and is considering playing that Nephalia Drownyard.
Drownyard's pretty fragile when your opponent does show you that Ghost Quarter, but what are you going to do?
He's going to play a Temple Garden tapped.
Yep.
Land go for Carlos. Owen wants to make sure he doesn't misstep here. You know, whoever blinks first is usually the one that loses in these uncontrol matchups. End of turn Restoration Angel for Carlos.
If by blink you mean taps out.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're blinking quite a bit, I think. Unless they're also having a staring contest. Well, playing Magic.
I don't know where you're going.
So a mini Sphinx's Revelation only for 2. Carlos gives the okay. Owen gains 2, going up to 19. Has a full grip.
He's got a full grip. He's also got to Think Twice. Wow.
I know that some of you...
I think his hand is like all spells.
I believe he's got...
Like, is he sitting on actually just like 8 spells right now?
So he's discarding spells.
He's discarding like augurs. 2 augurs? Jeez. So that's actually kind of a bummer for him, right? Like, he wanted to keep hitting his land drops over
land
and
drops
over.
Is pretty important. So Owen will Think Twice at end of turn. Draw Farseek. He does not want to flash it back.
He just doesn't want to leave himself open, I guess.
Owen will use that Farseek he drew, though.
That's good. Getting some mana back here.
Yeah, get him back up on lands. And Owen passes the turn back. Some results from the floor. Brian Kibler is now 5-0. Patrick Chapin with 1 loss. And a little counter war going on here. Sphinx's Revelation. Owen casts Negate. Carlos casts Negate of his own. And dissipate. Owen correctly dissipates the Sphinx's Revelation, so it gets removed from game. Now Owen has a little opportunity.
Okay, so Owen's going to go for Jace Architect of Thought here. He's probably just testing the waters. Also, if it resolves, hey, tons of value, right? I mean, we see he's got Jace Memory Adept in hand. We know that's a key card in the matchup. He's really going to concentrate on trying to get that resolved. But if this Jace does, it's kind of excellent in the sense that it's a seal of Jace, and it also just gets him a bunch of cards. You know, he's down to 2 cards here. All right, Owen, it looks like it's going to get dissipated, though.
Yeah, Owen attempted to protect it.
This time Carlos actually targeted the Jace instead of the counterspell with it, so he also got exiled, and he's going to flash back a Think Twice.
I don't think either of them got exiled. One of them has – oh, the Negate got exiled.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah, the exile is above Owen's library.
Oh, sorry, yep, missed that. All right, so Thrag Tusk. No, he's just going to go right for Jace.
Here's the Jace that matters.
Memory Adept.
Did I run you out of counters?
Yeah, that was the question here. Carlos has still got one.
Ooh, Dispel.
And a Dispel for Owen Turtenwald. Does Carlos have yet another counterspell? Owen has dice in hand at the ready.
Getting ready to mill for
This is on the stack. I think Owen senses that Carlos doesn't have it. Yeah, sure. Owen says, yeah, you could look at my graveyard. Go for it. Now, I'm assuming that Owen is going to be very aggressive with his.
Yeah.
I think that Carlos was just kind of sitting there for a while. You know, he needed to go through some amount of activations.
He's going to try to draw a card.
Oh, he is drawing cards. Okay.
He doesn't have any counterspells now.
So
maybe that's what he's afraid of. Looks like he picks up another
I mean, he
Jace.
is down on cards a bit, you know.
Well, he had to be pretty aggressive with his counterspells, but Carlos also likely does not have any counterspells. He does have creatures. His angels will take out the Jace. It's a little bit of a bummer.
That's kind of a beating for Owen. Is he going to start milling? What is he going to do?
He's
just play another Jace. Okay. So is he actually digging for like Supreme Verdict here then, or?
I guess so.
Drawn Dissipate.
Jeez. Think twice in response.
No, if he didn't draw, did he maybe just plan that out and just say, look, I've got 2 angels, I'm going to be able to take out the Jace?
Why would he cast the first counter?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking myself right now. All right, I just thought that it might be possible, but it looks like Owen is out of cards now with just a Thrag Tusk down.
And Carlos is actually beating down. This is not the sort of way that we dreamt up this game.
This is not how this normally goes, no.
Owen does have a Thrag Tusk, but cannot block those flying Restoration Angels.
All right. Yeah, I mean, Owen has a clock, too. Carlos is down to 1 card in hand, and he's sitting at 13. He can't race it currently, but now he certainly can.
A second
back up to
Tusk.
15, and he's got Carlos on a couple of turn clock here. All right. Well, things have swung back in the momentum, in the direction, of Owen Turtenwald.
I don't think Carlos can profitably attack in with his angels here. I think he just wants to pass it back to Owen to be able to block the Thrag Tusks.
And
Owen is not scooping here. He's
just getting his lands organized on the table, of which he has many. Now, I believe Carlos is still just sitting on that 1 card in hand. I don't know what it is. But yeah, I don't really see how he can attack and just go to 3 here and just. If he attacks with 1, he brings Owen to 11, but then he just takes 5 and trades off. It's just not a great situation for him. No, he's battling. Okay, so he's going to put Owen down to 8, and he's going to fall to 3 himself here.
Does Carlos have something up his sleeve?
I mean, he can still block now.
Yeah, but if Owen draws a detention here, Carlos is just dead.
Yeah.
Seems really risky.
I don't know why getting Owen down to 8 was was a priority for Carlos. I kind of thought he was going to show us another angel or something.
Sure.
Owen's got one card in hand. Can't quite see what it is. All right, now it looks like Carlos is the one with the detention sphere, although both of these beasts are lethal if he can find a way to get one of the angels or even both of them out of the way.
Yeah. Owen's going to mill 3 cards.
Yep, and he's going to pass the turn back. So Carlos, no, he's not in a horrible position here, but he's kind of precariously on the edge. I mean, something like a Thrag Tusk would be good. All right, so it says mill you, and he actually mills, wow, a Thrag Tusk and a Sphinx's Revelation. Those are 2 pretty relevant potential draws for Carlos. And Carlos has Divination. That's a big one for him here. Draw 2. I see that he's got the Detention Sphere. And it looks like he's going to take out both of the tokens and swing in there.
Owen falls to 2 life.
And it looks like Carlos is in the driver's seat here to finish off Owen. Not sure what he's naming, but it's certainly not sorcery.
Farseek.
So Owen can hit, he named Beast. Okay, he can, so Owen can hit a board sweeper or a detention sphere.
It's the big draw step.
Ooh, Sphinx's Revelation.
That'll do it.
Now, do you just do it now? Carlos has the 1 card in hand. He knows that he's going to attack anyway. Now he decided to pass. Okay, he's going to do it on his upkeep.
Not that it really matters, but Carlos's last card to dissipate or a negate or a Sphinx. Maybe he shouldn't have done it on his upkeep because now Carlos, if that last card were a Sphinx's Revelation, he could have drawn into a dissipate. Maybe Owen wanted to do it in his main phase, but Owen here is gaining 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 life. Going up to
back up to 15, and that was a huge draw for Owen. I got a chance. He thankfully flipped through his draw there, and I saw that he does have a detention sphere, so those angels are likely not long for this world, although Carlos drew a Jace Architect of Thought and immediately is going to make 3. He's going to get a Thrag Tusk, a negate, and a Ghost Quarter. Owen says, I'm going to pile him up like this. He certainly hopes that Carlos takes just the Thrag Tusk here, right? The Ghost Quarter isn't good for him, and the negate as well.
Time has been called. Again, I think these players have a little bit of an extension for being in a feature match area, but
they do have to make sure that they play quickly. I have to say, he's been very quick, and I think Carlos has been playing at a reasonable pace as well.
Yeah.
It's just that this matchup is slow.
No, I mean, you guys at home have seen how slow this matchup has been.
Yeah, and we were talking about it beforehand. Yeah, there's a lot going on in the matchup, but that said, it's pretty slow. All right, so Carlos says, yeah, Thragdag can go on the bottom of my library. I'm going to take the negate and the Ghost Quarter. The Ghost Quarter is going to give him the ability to reduce the clock of Owen Turtenwald significantly by taking out, at least by potentially taking out the Drown Yard. Owen draws another Sphinx's Revelation off the top. Things are really in his favor now. He needs to find the time to win the game. I see he's also got an Elixir. Augur of Bolas to lead off. This is going to be a big turn for Owen. He's going to take a Dissipate, which is exactly why he casts Augur of Bolas to lead off.
Wanted to get that counter spell.
That's right.
Elixir comes down.
All right, so I think we're going to see the Detention Sphere here.
Owen has to figure out how he can win in the 5-turn extension.
That's right. We don't know if they're actually on turns yet. Remember, this is a feature match. They give the players a couple extra minutes to get over there while we get situated. And
Detention Sphere gets negated. Owen's got the Dissipate for the negate. Detention Sphere is going to take out the Restoration Angels. And Ghost Quarter is going to take out the Nephalia Drown Yard.
All right, so time has been called on the feature match here, so this should be turn 0 or 1. I'm not sure. It depends on exactly when they did it. It's probably turn 1, though, right?
Maybe turn 1 or 2.
Well, I think they just called time.
Okay.
Yeah. For the feature match, that is. All right, so Owen is in the driver's seat if he had infinite time to win this game, but he doesn't. So, you got to wonder if Carlos is going to start
+1ing Jace.
Yeah, now I do see that Owen has a Restoration Angel in hand, which is lethal.
Okay, but he only has 3 mana. Oh, he has 7 mana at his disposal. Jace is going to -2, giving Owen the option between Supreme Verdict, or Carlos the option between Supreme Verdict and Selesnya Charm.
Yeah, and then there's, it looks like another Ghost Quarter there.
Yep.
So basically, Owen is just looking to set up a turn where he can resolve that Angel on end step and battle in there for the win.
Selesnya Charm comes into Carlos's hand.
Now, that's not going to do anything against the Angel, right? So
another Jace.
Interestingly, if he pluses Jace here, then that takes away that option. But it looks like it's going to be dissipated. Yeah, I like that play. It looks like Carlos is down. All right, here it is. Restoration Angel, does it resolve? He says yes. Bounce, yes, okay. And he's going to get to look at some cards from his Augur. It looks like he's whiffed on his Augur. He does actually put those in a specific order since he might get to that point. But right now, all right, he's going to take a look at his graveyard, maybe feigning a Snapcaster Mage or something, but couldn't see exactly what he had in his hand. But he's just setting up for the attack here, making sure that he gets all of his ducks in a row. If he has a way to draw cards, you might want to do it now, try to hit a counter spell. Looks like he's going to shuffle first. He's going to gain 5, and he's going to get a fresh library, although it's devoid of the majority, definitely the majority of Owen's lands.
Owen has 26 lands in his deck, so I believe that
I think he's got 15 or something lands on the table, so he's got more than half of his lands already represented on the battlefield here. And I kind of, he's kind of toying with his prey a little here too, right? Because he's going to attack, but he's making sure that he does everything he wants to do first. I wouldn't be surprised if he went for his Sphinx's Revelation in his main phase here to try to hit, 2 or 3 counters as well.
Owen's going to take 2, put Howl Fountain into play untapped.
Nope, he's just going to battle. So he must have what he needs in hand already.
And
Carlos is going to extend the hand, and Owen Turtenwald is victorious here against Carlos Powell.
Wow, in round 5 of Grand Prix Charleston.